Welcome to Exploring Nature with Children. You might be wondering why I'm somewhere so dark this morning, and that's because it's Winter Solstice week this week, and it is getting near the longest night of the year and the shortest day. So even in the morning when I'm filming now, it's very, very dark. And the reason it's so dark is because of the fact the Earth is tilted on an axis. So as it orbits around the sun, the northern hemisphere is tilted furthest away and the southern hemisphere is tilted closest to the sun. So on winter solstice, we end up with the shortest day, so we end up with the least amount of light for the day and the longest night time. So it takes a very long time between sunset and sunrise. While we're waiting for the sun to come up in the deep dark woods behind me, so I hope the sun comes up soon, let's have a few questions to think about winter solstice. Our first big discussion question is, what are the benefits of dark and nighttime? Because it's winter solstice, we're going to have the longest night of the year. So what are some of the benefits of? There's a saying all about how you can only see some stars on the darkest nights. So that's a really nice saying, because actually when it's dark, you can see some amazing stars and things you might not see. There's also a beautiful book called The Owl Who Was Afraid of the Dark, and we've got some twinkle sheets on our website if you'd like to explore that idea as well. As the sun is coming up, the sky is changing, all the colours around me are changing. It's magical, and I can hear all the animals waking up for the morning. You might be able to hear some of the birds behind me. So there's lots of changes going on in quite a short space of time. And changes are always affecting us throughout our lives. So our second big discussion question is, what changes are currently affecting you? What changes have you got going on in your life? How does change affect you? So have a think about that while you're out and about, or you're at home thinking about the winter solstice. The sun is nearly up and it is so light and bright now. And so often when people look at light and the sun, they think about hope and hope for the future. And also during winter solstice, you've gone through the longest night of the year and we're finally going back to longer days. And the final discussion question for you to think about is, what does hope mean to you? Often people do associate the sun coming up and winter solstice with hope because of the fact we've had long nights and finally the tide is turning, which means we're going to get longer days ahead. We've done our shortest day of the year. So what does hope mean to you? This has been my favourite nature walk with the children because we can observe so many different things as the light is changing, and it really opens our eyes to all of the amazing things you can see when the light comes. So if you go out on a nature walk or you're at home learning all about the winter solstice, I've got a 3, 2, 1 challenge for you of things to find. So can you find 3 signs of winter? Because it's the winter solstice, can you find 3 signs to do with winter? I know at my home, one sign is the fact the radiators are on to try and keep us warm because it's so cold. Or you might talk about how light and dark it is. But you might also find signs of winter outside and inside. So see what signs of winter you can find. Can you find 2 differences between night and day, between light and dark? Again, you can do this at home, see if you can find how your home looks different at night compared to the day, and also if you go out and about on a walk. Finally, can you find 1 story of hope? You might want to ask friends and family if they've got stories of hope to share with you, or there is one on the Twinkle website if you haven't got one, and it's a beautiful story and it's free to download. So all you need to do is log into Twinkle and download this free story, which is beautiful. When looking at the winter solstice with children, this is a really nice visual activity, so you can actually see in terms of when the sun sets and when the sun rises and how much light there is during the day. We used a circle divided into 24 using Twinkle Create, and then I've put numbers on from 1 to 12 for AM and 1 to 12 for PM. We then used Play-Doh of dark and light to match the hours, so when the sun rises and when the sun sets, to show when the day and the night was. But we expanded this further, and to do that we then made the circle smaller on Twinkle Create Again, and then got a map of the world, some colouring pencils and scissors. We then again still numbered these circles, but we looked up the sunset and sunrise times for different countries around the world, and then put our circles on our world map so we could actually see how much daylight and how much nighttime different countries had all over the world. In winter, you might also notice your shadows getting really, really long. In winter in the northern hemisphere, the sun is lower in the sky, so shadows get longer. This is due to the angle at which the sun rays are hitting the earth from the earth's tilt. You can try this out with a torch and a piece of paper. With the torch at a high angle, you get short shadows, and you can draw around these shadows and colour them in as a craft activity. Then, when you lower the angle, you end up with longer shadows. Our final craft activity is one on hope, because hope is often associated with winter solstice. And this year, Twinkle have Hope the Crab to try and share a little hope over this winter season. And all the craft instructions are online, and it's very easy to make. So you need some felt, stuffing and the template and some sewing materials. All you've got to do is cut out your paper template. And once you have cut out your paper template of Hope the Crab, you then need to draw around this template and then cut out the template of felt. So then you end up with a felt template of Hope the Crab. Once you have cut everything out, so you need 2 pieces for the head, 2 pieces of the body and 2 pieces for the shell, you might want to add any embellishments. So we added some eyes and some string on the shell. You can then sew the 2 sides of each of the pieces together, so we're starting with the shell here, and then add in some stuffing to give it a 3D effect. Once you've done that with each of the 3, with the body, the head and the shell, you then just need to sew the 3 together. And then you have your Hope the Crab. We really like this activity because it made us think about hope in a different way and how other people might see hope. Don't forget to also look on the Twinkle website for further information about the winter solstice, such as all about Stonehenge or Yule, the pagan winter festival. Thank you so much for joining me for this week's Exploring Nature with Children video. I hope you will enjoy exploring winter solstice, and however you celebrate it or you mark it or you study it, have lots of fun doing it. And from me and Hope the Crab, we hope to see you again soon.